This is happening right now, day 2 of President Biden's trip to Glasgow, Scotland. The president is speaking at this moment at the climate summit. We will keep an eye on that for you and bring you any news that is made. Unfortunately, he did make some news yesterday, and this is it. It seems the president isn't losing much sleep over what he called the greatest threat to America's national security, because he appeared to be nodding off during yesterday's open speeches. Remember, it was Leadership Speech Day, and he gave his, but I don't know. Anyway, he was giving the infamous Sleepy Joe moniker all over social media again. Texas Congressman Ronnie Johnson tore into Biden on Twitter. So painfully obvious he's not physically or mentally up for the job. It's embarrassing. He needs to resign. Even some on the left are criticizing the president for his untimely nappy nap.
He was seen on camera with his eyes closed. It appears that perhaps he was dozing. These can be embarrassing situations. A moment like that in a session can be a political obstacle for a moment.
Well, some Democrats and even some Republicans are defending President Biden. One user tweeted, "To be fair, I'd fall asleep during a climate conference, too." Oversight Committee Republicans saying, "We feel ya." And Fox News contributor Ari Fleischer tweeted, "Hard to blame him." Pete Hegseth, who's always ready to go, co-host of Fox and Friends Weekends, is in focus now. We're bright and bushy-tailed.
Morning, Harris. Morning. I mean, listen, I'll say this. As a former infantryman in the Army, I appreciate anyone that can find the right opportunity to get a nap in. You got to get your nap in when you have a chance. I can't fault him. If I'm listening to international bureaucrats drone on about fighting the weather, I might take a nap as well. But it is indicative of the moniker you talked about, Harris. It is indicative of a president asleep at the wheel for the big issues. You know, I'm in Minneapolis right now. They're going to vote today on whether they defund the police. You go down to the southern border, and we've got a full-on invasion down there. You go to Loudoun County, and they're dealing with critical race theory, which other people want to deny even exists. You go to other cities and you're dealing with crime. You go to the supply chain crisis and Christmas presents aren't arriving on time. You look at inflation and gas and prices. All of these very real things hitting people. And where is Joe Biden right now? Where is their focus? Not only is he at an international climate change conference, but he's falling asleep there. That's how disconnected he is from what's happening in people's lives. And that's why I think Virginia is such a flashpoint here today. And I don't buy that Joe Biden thinks the world's going to end in 10 years like Comrade Cortez said. I think he's going along with the groupthink of the left wing, which controls the Democrat Party today. He's saying the right things, none of which are good for our country. So it's a sad and emblematic moment that he earned the nickname Sleepy Joe, and we saw it again yesterday, unfortunately.
Wow, you tied a lot together there. Did you call the Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez comrade? I think I caught
comrade,
that.
Yes.
I caught that.
You did, correct.
Socialist, okay. A new poll, and that's what they're calling themselves, by the way, Socialist Democrats.
That's right.
A new poll finds that nearly half of Democrats want a candidate other than Joe Biden at the top of the ticket in 2024. Why would that be?
That's because at least half of Democrats want a fighting chance to win. Considering who he is right now in his disposition, considering where the country is headed because of his policies, and then considering the chance of a former President Trump running again, or if he doesn't, someone like Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, there's going to be a formidable opponent on the Republican side come 2024. And you can't run Sleepy Joe for a second term, especially, sorry, my phone's going off here, especially in light of his approval rating and in light of his policies and what they've done to the country. So that's a recognition of the obvious. It's a recognition of the obvious.
Because all along what we've been told from this White House and from the president is that inflation and some of these crises are going to be temporary. But what you're saying is that his polling numbers probably won't. And we haven't asked him about that because he has often said he doesn't look at the polling. We'll move on.
Has to say that.
The Let's Go Brandon wave and chant have gotten a little bit more popular, while President Biden is not getting more popular. The chant setting off a monumental meltdown and across the media as left-leaning journalists jump to provide cover for President Biden. Here's Jim Sciutto from CNN. Think about the lesson the Let's Go Brandon crowd is teaching their children. That tweet lit up the social media platform. Some responses to that were staggering hypocrisy and gaslighting. Another, people like this aren't serious. They act like 2017, 2020 never happened. And you're supposed to be a journalist, not a lapdog. What do you make of it?
Well, you know, it was the cover-up that made this clip go viral in the first place. Whether this NBC reporter knew the chant was one thing or it was Let's Go Brandon, it was emblematic of the cover-up we're seeing right now. No, don't listen to what the crowd is saying. Don't listen to the inflation numbers. Don't listen to our border. Don't listen to the crime. Don't listen to what happened in Afghanistan. That was a great success. The media will cover at every turn. And so Let's Go Brandon has become the rallying cry for Americans who say, we don't buy what you're selling. We don't want the policies you're selling, and we're willing to have a sense of humor, Harris. How about that? It's amusing, it's funny, it's politics, it's our viral world we live in right now. It was one of the most popular Halloween costumes. It was #1 on the Apple iTunes chart for I mean, people are laughing about it because if they weren't laughing, they'd be crying about the direction of our country based on what Joe Biden's done.
Robert De Niro in Hollywood, big awards event. Popped out the F-bomb against President Trump. With Let's Go Brandon, at least they're covering up the F-bomb that usually lives in that chant. No, in all seriousness, it is a bit of irony there.
That's exactly right.
Twice this hour I've used that word, but it's appropriate. All right. I want to get some good news from you right now. Programming note on the Fox Nation app, and if you don't have it, you need to get it. The Patriot Awards are right around the corner, and Pete Hegseth kicked off this tradition. And now people tell us they love it. Look at the stars who'll be with you this year. Go on, tell us.
It's an awesome lineup, Harris. There's still some tickets available, but you got to get them soon. Hollywood, Florida, November 17th. This is an award show that celebrates America, the opposite of Hollywood, California. This is Hollywood, Florida. It really is. And there are going to be primetime shows taping live there. Fox and Friends is going to be live there. Sean, Tucker, Laura, all the Fox and Friends folks.
Wait,
the weekend Fox and Friends.
What date is this?
This is November 17th in Florida, so it's in about 2 weeks. So if you got to get the tickets now. The fact that there are still some available is shocking. It's going to be an experience, an event.
Yes.
I can't wait to meet people when they come out, and you're going to be inspired by this award show that celebrates the things you really care about. Awesome stories we're going to bring to the stage.
Yeah, I mean, how each of us can lift each other up. It's a beautiful, beautiful occasion. And I pressed in on that date because that's like a week before Thanksgiving. People got to get in. Get in those tickets. Good to see you. Thank you for talking all things politics with me.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.